Welcome to the Stronger Leader podcast, home of the hashtag Stronger movement, where we explore the fascinating tapestry of human experience. I'm your host, Tony Cardello. Each episode, we'll sit down with a remarkable guest to dive into their unique journeys, from successful business leaders to individuals who have faced the darkest of times and emerged stronger, even from some of the inspiring youth of this emerging generation. We'll also cover essential topics on marriage, leadership, as well as spiritual, physical, and mental health, all in hopes to provide you with the tools and motivation to navigate your own life's challenges. Whether you're here to learn, grow, or simply be inspired, there's something for everyone. So get comfy, settle in, and join us as we embark upon this journey together. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button as well. Turn on the notifications so you'll know whenever we drop new content. All right, let's get started. So I'm gonna hit my little intro. You ready?
Okay, yeah.
Welcome to another episode of the Stronger Leader podcast with your host, Tony Cardello. And the crowd goes wild. I'm here with a new friend of mine, special guest. She is an amazing woman. I can't wait to hear more about her. Gillian Hughes. What's up, Gillian?
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
So excited to have you on.
I love the band playing the intro. That's a really nice touch, I feel.
Kind of feel like we're on the Tonight Show a little bit.
Yeah, I feel really famous right now.
Yeah. In the in-studio audience.
Yeah.
People pipe down. Yeah.
The applause. I love it.
So for those of you who don't know, Gillian Hughes is an IFBB Pro bikini model. So let's talk about what that means for those of you not in the fitness industry. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, Gillian. IFBB is an old organization that's been around a long time, and this was the, like, back in the Arnold, like what people know of bodybuilding, the Arnold and the old school stuff, Lou Ferrigno and all that was all IFBB, right?
Yeah, it's the professional league of bodybuilding, and there are several different federations, but it's probably the largest and the most
The NFL of
yeah.
bodybuilding.
Yeah, it's definitely like the most prestigious and the largest, with the biggest prizes and the biggest stages. Like the top tier, like eventual place you'd hope to go would be the Olympia. And so
Do they even do Universe anymore? Do they do Mr. Universe or any of that?
no, they don't.
I don't think so.
I don't know what it was replaced by. But
Olympia
yeah, they
just
haven't.
probably just kind of took the stage.
Well, it's grown so much because back in the day it was just men's bodybuilding. Then they started women's bodybuilding. Then all these other different categories. I think we're like up to 8 now, different categories that athletes can compete in under the umbrella of bodybuilding. So, and it's there's lots of women's categories now too. Whereas it just started with one. So yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
So Gillian brings a whole wealth of not just fitness, but she's also a mom, a wife, a business owner, just a lot of stuff. And for us, those of you that are following along, oh, you know what? Hold on, I'm missing something here, and see if you can see the difference. Hang on, it's coming. I control everything from the phone. Lighting.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Hey, there, it's got to settle in a little bit, the camera. All right. So
Yeah. You should see what I got set up. I'm 45. I got a whole situation happening over here.
Get it, girlfriend. I love it.
I got a light box. I got all this stuff going on.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm 40. I just turned 47 in November, so I'm.
Oh, okay.
But my wife keeps the Botox flowing. Had a guy hit us up earlier. Like he just started it for the first time. He sent her something in the inbox. Like, when do I come back? Do I just wait for the wrinkles to come back? And I answered for her. I was like, absolutely not. We don't want those things coming back. be proactive.
You got to stay on the Brotox.
Yeah,
quarterly Brotox.
So our podcast is, what I've started primarily was kind of a men's ministry, and it's in our, we want to lead men to be better men, lead men to Christ, just be stronger in our communities and in our homes and workplaces and all that. And so it's like, well, okay, so what's our give to women? Well, our give to women is to be good men to our women, right? And covenant and the relationship with the wife in the Bible is the most coveted, right? And so my mom, I was really, really close with my mom growing up. I lived with her. My parents divorced early. So women hold a special place in my heart. I'm, not Casanova ladies man, but it's like I've always cared for women, just because I was a mama's boy. So, I'm a protector, right? And so in what I also have grown to be fond of in this ministry is to empower women. I want to give women that voice to hold their men accountable, right? And I love it when my wife's like, "Hey, I know you're having a bad day. I know you're struggling, but you ain't gonna talk to me that way." I
Yeah.
love it. You know what I mean? I don't love it in the moment, but I love the fact that she has that voice, right?
Yeah.
And I need to be held accountable because we're pesky men.
I think we all love accountability though,
We
even
do.
though we
We drive
claim
men.
we don't. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think ultimately
absolutely.
we all like that and need that.
So I think that what little bit I've learned from you, and I try not to do too much homework on my guests because I want to leave the podcast itself to be authentic, right? And
Yeah.
so what little I do know about you, though, I'm inspired by, I know, I did a bodybuilding show, so I know just that industry, what it takes, the level of commitment.
Yeah.
So the discipline that you have in that. And I have a saying, how you do anything is how you'll do everything, right?
Mhm.
And so if you're disciplined in that aspect of your life, I'm pretty sure it spills over into probably most others. And so I'm excited to hear more about your story. So let's start with that, Miss Jillian.
Yeah.
Tell us who you are, where you grew up, like the basic stuff. Like, who are you? Who's Jillian?
Okay. Okay. Well, so my name is Gillian Hughes. I'm a mother. I'm a mother to two biological children and three stepkids. Married to the love of my life, and I am a fitness entrepreneur. I started a personal training company about 18 years ago, and it just grew and grew and grew. So at the time when I started the company, I was a registered nurse in critical care, and so I left a 13-year career in nursing to start my own
Didn't know
business.
that.
Yeah, it was really scary. It was a very unpopular decision, but
What department did you in critical care?
so cardiology.
Got it.
And I started, I mean, I'm going to jump all over the place when I tell the story, but I went to nursing school in Hamilton, Ontario. So I'm from Canada. And I just wanted to move to the United States. That's where all the opportunities are. And, I did have this love for fitness, but it was just this like secret love for fitness that nobody really knew about, that I wanted to be a model and on magazines and do fitness competitions. I never told anybody that. So I graduated nursing school, moved to Tallahassee, which is the least Florida places you can really move to, because there's no beach and it was,
Right.
we had chilly winters, but I was in Florida. And so that's where I started my career. And then was travel nursing and met my first husband, who was also a nurse. And then he was from St. Louis. And I had at that point maxed out all my travel contracts. It would be too expensive. You got to sign on or you got to leave. And so we came back to St. Louis, and then we found out we were pregnant with our first child. So we got married, and then we had another child. And then along the way, found a lot of different avenues for my love for fitness, and felt like it was difficult to juggle a nursing career, being a mother, and my love for fitness. And so I kind of just started to take fewer shifts, go part-time, train clients on the side. And it wasn't long before I had a full roster, and I'm like working stress tests, like trying to help people on the treadmill. And then on my break, I'm answering all my clients, and I'm like, I've got to burn the boat. Like I can't, I'm not going to be able to grow this and do this at the same time. And I found that I was able to devote more to my family, and, it just ended up being exactly what I needed. And I think the background in nursing and healthcare like really was a good foundation for fitness. And now as I'm getting older and seeing, the effects of our environment and hormones, it's definitely helps to have a brain that works that way, even though a lot's changed. It's just, a part of my background that it helps, to have as a coach.
Yeah, yeah, great. Okay, when did you move to the States then? How old were you?
I was 21,
Okay.
fresh, like out of college. Like I think I'd only graduated like 2 months before.
What part of Canada?
I'm just outside of Toronto, so London, technically, right above Detroit. So, and I've been here, 24 years. So I've technically lived in America longer than I've lived in Canada, but my brother and my mom are still there. My niece and nephew over there as well. But my parents immigrated from the UK when they had me. So we didn't have a lot of family in Canada. A lot of our family was in the UK. So like we're kind of all
Were you
spread all
born in
over.
the UK originally?
No, but I have a very British name, like Gillian with a G is like very British. And I had a little British accent up until I started school. Like I was like 5 and I was like, crikey, like with a little cute like accent.
Right.
And I started hanging out with other kids and got made fun of. So I got rid of that really fast. But I can sort of switch over to it when I need to if I want to get good customer service or something.
Yeah, that's great.
People are nice to British people. So Canadian born and raised, and then, and been in America ever since.
Yeah, that's great. So tell us a little bit about your upbringing. What what was your home life like?
Yeah, so my parents married 35 years. My dad passed away 2012. So yeah, they, were a very humble upbringings. My dad was blue collar, and my mom worked in retail. And I never knew we didn't have everything, but I mean, we definitely, there were times that were challenging for my parents and my dad in between jobs and whatnot. But as kids, we never went without anything. But we didn't have, like we didn't play select sports or go on like crazy vacations or like we just were very. My parents were very had to be very frugal. But I wouldn't say that was something that I wanted or missed. I think for me, I just I wanted to see the world. I wanted to experience more. And when you're growing up and you don't have much, you don't really get to really do that. But I think about this all the time because now I've got 5 kids under the age of 18, like the ages 9 through 18, and they see the world like things I would have not seen growing up. So I really didn't know what I was missing, but I was very curious. Like they kind of see all this stuff, and I don't know if that gives them a different feeling of like, wow, I really want to see it in person, or like, oh, I've already seen it because I saw it on TikTok or something, So I don't know. Woo, squirrel.
Oh, that's a good point, though. It
Yeah. And I've got a brother whom we're not super close. I mean, we're fine, but like we're not.
Yeah.
I see the relationship my son and daughter have, and it's everything I wish my relationship with my brother was. And it's just not. We're just very different people. We respect each other. We live miles apart, and we speak a couple times a year, and that's it's a bummer for me. Like, I wish we were closer, but it's just
Little
not
brother
the
or
case.
older brother?
He's younger, yeah. So I think that was part of it too, like I was the responsible older sister and he was like the wild younger brother, and I just picked up and moved, and I don't know. Just is what it is.
So tell me through life, any major experiences of darkness or anything. So hold on, before I go too far, your spiritual life, you are a Christian, right?
Yes.
We talked a little bit about that. And so were you raised that way? Were you raised in Christianity?
Yep. Yeah. We, my parents were really involved in Canada. We went to United Church. And then sort of as I got to high school, just wasn't as a big part of my routine and a part of our life at home. But when I was, in my first marriage, my first husband was raised Catholic. Our kids went to Lutheran school. So, it's definitely got a place in my heart and in our home, just in a different way.
Gotcha. Okay. So any experience of darkness, any major traumatic events growing up at all that you had to experience or go through?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can't pinpoint exactly, like a particular incident, but I, developed anorexia when I was 12. And I think, they take you through a gamut of all kinds of testing when you're a child that's, 49 pounds in a hospital bed. And I were you abused? And what did it happen to you? No, like none of those things happened. I think it just came from a place of just, anxiety that I learned later in life was ADHD. And, treated with antidepressants. And I don't know that I was depressed. I think it was very misunderstood, a desire to be perfect, a desire for everything to be okay. And so controlling food was, just a piece of just the thing that I could control. And so, yeah, I was, I think 7th grade and hospitalized for 3 months and, tube fed and all of the things. And, there was never like I don't think I was, to my knowledge, I don't think I was going to die, but obviously if there was nothing done, then, but I think I just couldn't fix it. I was so young, and it is still to this day something we don't really talk about in my family. Because I think I felt so much shame afterwards. Like, people, that's that girl that was in the hospital. And it wasn't like today where there's so many people sharing stories. Like, I would go to the library and secretly look at books and be like, read stories of recovery, because I had no one to talk to. And it was just like, almost like, how could you do that to yourself? How could you starve yourself? But it was, as I grew, went through therapy, over the years and learned about myself, I realized it was, a misdiagnosis, a misunderstanding, and just no way of knowing really how to really treat me. And I think my mom was just scared to death, and my dad didn't know what to do. So he sort of just, let my mom deal with it. So it was not a great situation. Not a great situation, but I think, that's, what also...
Our parents' culture, because I'm the same age as you, our parents' culture was, I think, very traditional roles. Like dad, you said he was blue collar, probably went to work, made money, raised, provided, right? And mom, take care of the loving, nurturing, and, whatever's wrong with her emotions, you take care of it, and I'll go make money so we can eat. Right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, dinner was at 5:30 every night. Like, my mom was, doing dishes and still had her name tag on from work, and my dad was reading the newspaper, and it was very just that traditional, and men don't show their emotion, and all of those things. And but I think like I'm beyond the place of just being like, well, my childhood. Like, I had a good childhood. My parents did the best they could, and I'm fine. And I think, I've worked through a lot of stuff and a lot of things that, but before my dad passed, we had a conversation about it. I think that was very helpful, because I felt like I needed to let him know, like, it's not like a choice. Like, people don't choose anorexia. Like, they don't choose like cancer or any other disease. Like, I said, if you could just look at this like it was a disease and like, forgive me, essentially. And I don't really remember what his response was, but I think I just needed to say that, and I hadn't really had a way to do that. And we went for a drive, and I just, at least I got to say that to him, and that was,
got you released a little bit.
Yeah, like 25 years later. So I don't know. My dad, like, even when my dad was dying, like, he didn't share a lot with us about that he knew he was dying. He died of brain cancer.
That culture, or that generation, man.
Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, life's not like the movies, right? No. Like, where there's like these moments and the music and all these things, and you close all these chapters, right? Like, life doesn't really happen like that. So it just is what it is. I don't think I don't need it, but I sometimes I'm curious, like, what was he really thinking all the time? Like, who did he say that stuff to? Like, did my mom have these talks? Like, I don't know. It's just, it's weird. I think that's also what my brother is. I think that's why we're not close, because I'm just really like, this is it. Everybody around me, like, even when we started this podcast, I'm like, I'm an open book. Like, I'm very open, and I talk about things, and my husband and I have great communication. I mean, my kids do, so I don't jive with people who are just like, sort of,
Yeah, you're going to love me or you're going to hate me. What I say isn't going to change that.
Yeah.
For sure. So. Well, okay. So, and I'm going to dig in a little bit here, because you seem open about it, and I want to be respectful. Yeah. I don't want you to feel disrespected by the line of question. But so, and listen, I can internalize this myself, because similar. So, do you think that the bodybuilding, your passion for what you're doing of showing yourself and putting yourself on display, do you think there's a piece of that element of like it's almost for yourself, not necessarily for other people, for yourself, of you're proud, right? You're proud because you're certainly not 49 pounds anymore, right?
Yeah.
Your tone, a lot of work goes into that, right? And so, do you feel like there's an element of that childhood that fuels that a little bit?
I think that I know where you're kind of going, like, with this question, because I think, like, naturally people that have gone through like disordered eating or body image are sometimes really drawn to bodybuilding. And I think that it could be for some people not good idea to pursue physique sports where you're putting your near naked body, whether you're a man or a woman, like it's not, whatever you're wearing is not covering very much, and your whole body is up there. And I always say to people, like, you got to have thick skin, because these judges are not going to tell you nice things. Like, they're going to say, great stage presentation, but you need to fix right? And if you can't handle that, then this would be really tough for anybody to do. So I think when I first started, I think my mom was like, oh no, this is a horrible idea. But I think that something switched for me. And I remember it, we were on like a road trip to a cheerleading competition, and I picked up a fitness magazine at a 7-Eleven, and I looked and I thought, this is it. Like, these women, these muscles, like, I was fascinated. And prior to that, all I'd ever seen was women who were tall, and I'm 5 foot tall, women who were 5'9", 5'10", skinny. And I didn't look like that. And I was short. I was built like a little gymnast. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is for me. So I never looked at bodybuilding as like a disorder or unhealthy. Like, I looked at it as strong and like, just like a sport. And so I don't think my mom really got it until probably literally, so I turned pro like 19 years in, and she's like, okay, this is not dangerous anymore. but I think as a parent, if your daughter has had restrictive eating and then she's like signing up for a sport that's more restrictive eating, you're like, oh my gosh, And I won't say like the journey has been like completely, healthy. There have been times where I've really struggled. But not to the degree of where because I think it also, bodybuilding does give me an element of control, right? Like, but also like, you've got to fuel your body in order to look that way.
Yeah, and that's where I was going with it. I was thinking that maybe this is your way of taking back control of that disease and saying, hey, I can do what it was I was doing before, but I can do it healthy and win, right? And
yeah.
So, that's kind of what the way I see it.
Yeah. I think a little bit, but I think as I've gotten older and like with so many kids in a big household, like I feel like I want to control everything. So I say this all the time, like bodybuilding is like almost like my anchor, because like I've got 3 biological children that don't live with me 2 weeks out of the month. So they're being raised by a completely different family with different values and rules to us. And, we run such tight schedules. My husband works a lot, and I've got 2 kids very involved in sports. Like, so it's just like chaotic. So I think bodybuilding is just like, this is the only thing that I have control over,
Great.
So in a positive way.
Yeah, for sure. So tell me about like when you started making that transition from nursing and really started getting into this. What was your first like kind of aha moment? Like, okay, this is it. This is what I want to do. Did I lose you? So when you kind of started that transition, and you're like, okay, back up. I want to make sure I get this right. So you were nursing, and then you started also taking on clients. So did you get a certification in health and nutrition, all that stuff too?
Yeah. So the story is, I had done a handful of like fitness competitions. Back then it was called Figure. Well, it's still called Figure, but we just didn't have bikini back then. So I did fitness and figure before I had my first child, Brady. I'd always hired coaches. I didn't know anything about coaching. I knew enough about just like my own stuff. So I have Brady, and in that journey of like, pregnancy and, trying to, figure out, that whole deal, I gained quite a bit of weight. So I ended up sending in in a magazine, like for a sample of like some diet pill or whatever. Cause I was like, I'm going back to work soon. I got to lose this weight today, whatever. And the company was called Hydroxycut, and you had to send in like, I don't know what I sent, even like it was one of my like fitness competition photos and then a picture of me post baby. And I was like, I'm a hot mess. I just wanted some samples. And they called, and I signed like a deal with them to work as a transformation model. So I was hired within like a week. They flew me instantly back to Canada, to Toronto. I'm living in St. Louis at the time. So I go back to Canada. I take all these horrifying before photos, and they're like eat everything, like don't lose weight. I'm like, I'm not going to be in a magazine, like, but we need these before photos, right? I mean, it's all done very above board, like it's all legit, right? Like they don't
Uh-huh.
Photoshop any of it.
Yeah, there's
And
no
so,
AI back then.
oh my God,
Yeah.
these before photos, I was just like, oh my God. And I'm like, these are going to be in a magazine. So then it was like, they sent me back with like, I had a diet and a training program and all this stuff. And I lost like almost 40 pounds and like 39 pounds in 14 weeks with hydroxycut.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing. Then I got flown out to Miami, did a bunch of commercials. So I was all over magazines and everything. And so lo and behold, I have all these women like, can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me? And this is before like Instagram or anything, right?
Mhm.
But just women that I knew in the neighborhood. And so I'd gotten my personal training certification. And I was like, well, I mean, yeah, I could help you. And I went and bought these folders at the dollar store and made a little label like mom fit. I don't even know what I called it. I can't even remember. And I just give them like, workouts and whatnot. And 5 clients grew to 10 clients, grew to 15 clients. And I was like, what is happening right now? Like it
Wow.
was kind of crazy. Then I started doing a little bit of coaching on the side, like for, women that wanted to compete. I got back on
Had you competed
stage.
at that point? You'd competed at that point, right?
I had competed before the whole hydroxycut thing. I'd done
Got
like
it.
4 shows, I think. And so, yeah, just over time, it just, it grew. It was after my second child, though, that I really was like, I think this is something that I want to do on a larger scale. Like when I was doing it, in the beginning, it was like, just spending money really. And I think after having my second child and just realizing how hard it was to be a nurse, working nights, missing, kindergarten, Easter parties, and like, and my kids were at Lutheran school at the time, and the parents were all really involved, and I'm like, I can't get that night off, and it broke my heart to think I was missing all those moments. And I thought, I have this opportunity, and I'm sure I'll find another nursing job if it doesn't work out. And so that's kind of how that all happened, and that's where it really began.
You
So,
made the leap. You made the leap. Yeah,
yeah,
I that
yeah.
resonates well with me because Dominique, my wife, she was a PICU nurse for 16 years at KU
Oh,
Med,
okay.
and similar, right? Our kids started getting to that age, busy sports, they're in school and all that, and she was working those 12s, getting home, leaving at 6 in the morning, coming home at what nine at
Yeah,
night, right? And it's just missing a lot, and that's same. And so she got into aesthetics, and
yeah,
much easier. She went from saving sick and dying babies to saving wrinkles. So,
yeah. But still helping people.
wait, yes, very much so, but way
Yeah,
less stress, right? Way less stress.
yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, same, right? So I totally get that part. Okay, so then you went. How is Mom Shell born? And
Yeah,
so for those of you who don't know, that's the name of her coaching company, right? Mom Shell Fitness, is
yeah,
that right?
yeah. It's Mom
I'll
Shell
put some
Method
links.
Fitness.
Mom Shell
Yeah,
Method. That's right. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I'll put some links in the bio in the description below, so you guys can reach out to Jillian. I'll link all your stuff, your
Oh,
Facebook
thanks.
and Instagram and all that stuff. Yeah. So
Awesome.
how was that born? How'd you come up with the name? What a cute name. Great name. Whose
Thanks.
idea was that?
Well, that whole hydroxycut deal was like really the beginning of like a fitness modeling career. And so like, doing photo shoots and being a mom, and it just kind of like, I don't know, like it kind of just picked it up. I don't think I invented it. I heard it, or somebody called me it or something. And so my very first like Instagram page that I had, and this is why I think my page grew so much, is because I have like very like when Instagram started, I got right on it and started posting, and I just loved it. It was just so much fun. And so it was at the time STL_momshell. And then that just, really became then, and we had a different name for the company because my ex-husband and I coached together, and we used our married name. It was Becker Built Bodies at the time. And so when we got divorced, I was like, well, I got to give this a new name. And I only wanted to really work with women. But I put the method in there because I do have like lots of women that I work with that don't have children. They, just they want to figure out how to juggle it all. We always say we work with high functioning women is what we do. But I mean, who doesn't want to be, a bombshell that's a mom, right? So
Yeah.
so yeah, that's kind of where it came from. And then it just stuck. I mean, my husband, like for the first 2 years that we were together, he would just like, "Hey, mom, shall," like, and the kids would call. It was funny. So, yeah, it really stuck. So,
I love it. So your husband now, if I'm correct, is in law enforcement. Is that right?
yes, and in the car business too.
Okay, yeah. He was in the car business,
hmm
law enforcement first, and now he's in the car business, right?
He's in both now. Now he's doing
Oh,
both.
that's right. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
That's right. Yeah, I love it.
yeah, yeah.
That's great.
He's a hardworking guy, and just I think if you're born to be a police officer, it's just in your blood. It's who you are. And so he took a little break from the car business back in it was like 23, and thought about what would happen if he went back to police work, and it's something that he loves.
Yeah.
It's something it's in his blood, but it's just tough to financially. I think it's tough to do that and have a family of 7 and all the
So
things that
let's
we like to do.
so let's talk about that. So there's maybe some people that are going to listen to this, not interested, right? Interested in fitness. Maybe some moms trying to get their body back, after having several kids and, whatever. What's you're busy, right? And I get it. I
Yeah.
am too. But we find time, right? We find time
Yeah.
to get in the gym and make it part. Walk us through a day in the life. I mean, you have a blended family. You're married. You have businesses.
Yeah.
You have several kids that you have to care for. You have a lot going on, but you still find time to get in the gym. So walk us through that day. What's a day look like for you? Typical day, we'll say.
Well, we've got like a series of buses. We've got the kids that leave before 7. They drive. That's my boys. And then the middle school bus is at 7:20, and then the elementary school bus is at 8:20. So I try to have myself ready to go by that like third bus. But by that point, I've usually answered a handful of emails because I kind of like to get ahead of the day. I think my like approach to nutrition makes the mornings easy too. Like I don't have to think about it. I've kind of eaten the same breakfast for 157 years. So that makes the morning routine really simple. Like
You look
I'm
great
all
for
about,
157 years old, by the way.
thank you. Thanks. Thank you very much. I drink a lot of water. So that helps. And then, I'm off to the gym, and, it doesn't need to take it forever. I mean, it's a less than 10-minute drive, knock out my lifting. I multitask, a lot of times I'm doing cardio, but I'm doing a little work on my phone. Head back home, get a lot of work done. We have a podcast too. We typically carve out, one afternoon a week to do that. So I think you've just got to really budget your time and then do what you can to save time. Like I don't have a very complicated diet. Like it's, I eat a lot of the same things on repeat because it just makes things simple, but I kind of do the same thing for the kids. Like I have a lot of the same foods that I make for them. And I'm a scheduler. I post-it notes with to-do lists everywhere. I love pen and paper. And we travel a lot too. Like I travel a lot for bodybuilding, and my daughter does all-star cheer. So, 2 weekends a month we're not here. So I just try to work ahead. I think I learned you never find extra time. So if you've got time, use it and try to do as much as you can, rather than just be like, oh gosh, we're leaving tomorrow and I got 27 loads of laundry and need to go to the grocery store. And so I've gotten good at just sort of juggling. And I find if I have, chunks of time with nothing, I tend to cram a bunch of stuff on there because it's just kind of what I do. So I don't know that that's a good answer, but
Yeah, no, it is. It's real. It is an answer. It's the answer.
yeah,
Right?
it's a hot mess, but it works.
So my question for you is, I have I've got a lot of really unhealthy self-talk sometimes in the morning, when
Yeah.
I'm tired or whatever. I don't know about you. I don't ever miss going to the gym. I just don't. And I've got a 10-year-old son now that's into it. And so he's been my best workout partner in the last decade, literally, probably
Yeah.
because he's in the house with me so I can make sure he goes. But we get up every morning, and I get up at 4:58 and I do my little morning routine, and then he gets up at
4:58.
4:58. Yeah. And
What's
it's-
okay? What's the significance in that, and not 5?
Okay, so it's just a competitive thing, right? You read all these success books, and
Yeah.
probably the most common time for most successful people, they wake up at 5 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
And so I
So
just
you want
want
to
to
be
be a
two
little bit
minutes
better.
ahead.
I just want to be a little bit better, right? Yeah.
I
So
like that. That's interesting.
Mike Tyson said it. He said, if my competition, I'll outwork them. If they're getting up at
Yeah.
6 in the morning, I'm gonna get up at 5. And if they're getting up at 5, I'll get up at 4. If I find out they get up at 4, I won't sleep. And
Yeah.
that's kind of, I've set my sights on the competition, and then I just outwork them, because I wasn't born for money. I don't have, I'm not crazy intelligent. I'm not crazy gifted genetically. But I do have this internal fire that I'm gifted with, and I think I
Yeah.
can mentally outwork anybody when it comes to this stuff, right? So that's
Yeah.
where the 458 came from. I just,
I love that. That's cute.
but it's early, right? Especially if you're rocking out a podcast and you're editing, and I get to bed, I
Yeah.
crawl in bed at 11:30, 12 o'clock. At 4:58 rolls around pretty quick, and so,
Yeah.
but I don't miss. Do you ever miss? Does the morning ever get away from you, and you're just the
No.
gym, like, I just can't get to the gym today?
Even when I'm on
Outside of
vacation.
competition, like outside of
Well,
crowd.
I think because I think it's my only time for me. Like
Mhm.
it's, I can block the world out, and I always, no matter where I am, whether I'm traveling, internationally or just Wichita or wherever I am, when I'm in the gym, I feel at home. And it's
Yeah.
just me. Like, and I think weights make me feel powerful. Listening to music inspires me. So even if I'm just going in and just, it's maybe a recovery day, or it's like I have these days, I'll touch up days where I kind of just do things I missed during the week. But I don't look at it like it's like brushing my teeth. It happens. And I would say, like, I used to be somebody who went every morning at 4. I learned as I'm navigating the changes in life,
Yes.
that's not ideal for for a woman's body in mid 40s. So I've shifted a little bit as far as what that looks like, as not getting up at 3:30 in the morning anymore. But
What's so funny? I'm going to tell you something. It used to be the 3:30 or 4 o'clock that I get up, and I was just like, I was hitting that wall at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm
oh yeah,
basically professional in my dealerships. I can't.
yeah,
I'm not done at 2. I can't be tired at 2 o'clock.
oh yeah. I
And
was
that
hitting that wall
extra
at 10 in the
hour.
morning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that extra hour
And I
is
was heavily dependent on caffeine, and I hated it. I started having some,
insane.
like, digestion problems. My eye wouldn't stop twitching, which is a huge red flag of cortisol imbalance. I was like, we need to do something about
Oh, is
this.
that what that's from?
Um, yeah. So,
Didn't know
um,
that.
working in this field, I could see all the signs were there, and I knew I had big goals for my competitive endeavors. I had, come really close to turning pro, and I'm like, I can't turn a blind eye to what my body's telling me right now.
Mhm.
So I just, I just had to make some sacrifices, like to carve out more time to be able to, like, be more optimal. And so, yeah, I still, train every day, but I've got to get, more sleep. And also, like, I think going to bed a little bit later, because I'm not trying to get up at 3:30 in the morning, allows me a bit more time with my partner. And so
Yeah.
overall, it was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Like, but I found that I was more productive because I was more energetic. So, like I said, I get up, and within 10 minutes, my laptop's open and I'm answering emails and whatnot. So and I think I can be more efficient because I feel better than when I was grinding, going to the gym, and I was proud of it. I used to put on my Instagram story, like, 4 a.m. club, and like,
Yeah.
it's like, I'm so sorry,
Meanwhile, you're
everybody.
dying inside. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm dying. So I learned my lesson there. But I always say, like, anything that I've been through, like, it's so I can help other people, because it's unbelievable how many women are in that same spot, but they're farther gone than I was. Hair's falling out and all kinds of stuff. And so, it's hard for a high functioning woman to be told, like, you need to slow down. It's like, wait, what? Like, I haven't achieved
Yeah.
this, and I have this far to go. Like, I don't have time to sleep, So,
Mhm.
anyways, that was
I seen
a
there was a guy that came by the
tangent.
dealerships today. I haven't seen him in a long time. He's one of the local insurance agents that drop off calendars, and stuff like that at the end of the year. So, and I was like, "Hey, man, what's going on?" He's like, "Oh, man, nothing. I've been watching all your stuff." Like, he's like, "Man, when do you find time to sleep?" I'm like, "What is this sleep you speak of?" I was
Well, I
like,
have a
"You're not
funny
a
thing I say
sleeper."
now. I'm
Believe it
always
or not,
not.
I get sleep.
Yeah,
I do.
you do. Well,
Yeah.
so are you like maybe your sleep is just, you don't need a lot of it, but you're really efficient, like a good sleeper?
That's
Well,
right.
maybe you're
Yeah.
hitting all your targets. If you're getting your REM sleep and your deep sleep, then maybe you don't need.
So
I'm not someone who
funny.
needs 8 hours. I'm not that person. But
So I see your watch. You got an Apple Watch. Do you wear it to bed?
no, but I wear this all the time.
Oh,
This is
that's
my
your
Aura
okay.
ring.
So it tracks. I was just looking at because so I bought my wife this Ultra, the Apple Bot Ultra for her birthday, and
Uh-huh.
she's got little dainty wrists, and she said it's too big and it was hurting her. So I
Oh,
bought it for me, obviously. Then I guess
yeah.
so. I've been wearing it, and because I was on the Garmin deal for a long time when I was competing, I used the Garmin to track everything, and so I've been wearing this lately and looking at my sleep, and I'm like, man, I'm not hitting those deep sleeps in the rims. I'm getting decent total hours of sleep, but I'm not
Yeah.
hitting some of those deep spots. And I
Yeah,
was doing
that's
just
important.
literally just this morning. I was re-looking at that because I'm no, 47, I'm inching up on 50, I'm still going strong. I got to kind of start looking to hedge my bets a little bit. I got
Yeah.
two daughters that are 16 and 14 and they're drop dead gorgeous. So I got to stay ahead of these boys. I got
Yeah,
to
you
stay
gotta
intimidating.
you gotta
Gotta
stay
keep the
ready.
beard. Gotta keep the beard,
Yeah.
keep the muscles. They see
Give you
some
some
of the
more
guys see.
REM sleep. You're gonna
Yeah.
need it. That's funny.
Okay. So Mom Shell starts taking off. You're full time into that, and what's your aspirations with? Okay. Well, hold on. I had another question I wanted to ask you first. When you started, like all these women reaching out to you from the hydroxycut deal, and you're like, oh well, wow, okay. When you started, would you say you're altruistic? Like, do you have an altruistic type of mentality where you just love helping people? Because being a nurse, I would imagine you kind of have that caretaker, nurturing sort of core anyway, right? And
Yeah, and
so,
I see a lot of potential in people. Um and I see when somebody's broken, I'm like, oh, if you just knew what your life could be like if you didn't feel this way anymore. And I want to help you. Like I want you to experience that. Like whatever that might be. Because I mean, a lot of women, it starts with, oh, I want to get in shape, but then they start to believe in themselves again. And it's just so sad how many people don't believe in themselves because they've failed at, whatever in life. And then they're failing at this huge thing, which is like staying healthy. And so if I can help them like believe in themselves again, it will open doors for so many other things where they stop putting up with people who treat them terribly and go after dreams that maybe they couldn't even say out loud, and I think that was where fitness like helped me with so much confidence because I'm a shy wallflower sort of, let everybody else shine, and then having fitness just helped me to like, I'm going to start a business. I'm going to move to America. Like all these big things that really nobody really like. I mean, anytime I've made a big decision, my parents will, oh, that's really scary. Like, I don't
yeah,
know if I'm going to do that. I'm like, I'm going to Florida and I'm going to live in America, and
I
I'm
love that.
quitting nursing and I'm going to start a business, and then I'm going to be a bodybuilder. I'm going to turn pro, like all these things, which those are three not huge things, but like, they were big dreams and goals of mine that, I just
Sure.
had to bet on myself. So I think sometimes like maybe that's my job and why I was put here. I also believe I was put here to be a mother. It's my
It's your
favorite job
calling.
ever. But to like maybe for somebody to be like, hey, she can do it. Why can't I? And then maybe that
Mhm.
helps them to find something that sets their soul on fire.
Absolutely. So, I noticed, and maybe it's just my experience, and maybe I don't know, maybe my perception, but the women I see in the space that are doing what you're doing, I feel like have more of a life ambition for their clients. Like you said, I want to see them get confidence and get be it's not, and I see more on the men coaching side. They're like, traps need to be bigger, shoulders need to go. It's like purely aesthetic for the sport, trying to win a you know what I mean? Like I don't know
Yeah.
how much life is really behind that, and for me, that's why, like with this ministry, like that's what I like doing. I love getting into people. I like seeing people hear from me, hear a message from me, or I work with them. They call me and
Yeah.
watch their lives start transforming, like better husbands, better fathers, better, workers, and, start making more. It just all like, that's what makes my cup full, and that's probably why I never really got into the physical side of coaching or being into the body, but I did it just because I enjoyed it. But I couldn't see myself coaching and just being so, just kind of one single faceted, right? I would want to do it more for, helping guys like be better dads.
Yeah, and I think there are definitely clients of mine that are totally about the aesthetic and help me get rid of cellulite, and that is like what they want. But I can do that, but I love to really work with people and hear how, fitness has changed their life, and open doors for them that wouldn't have otherwise been open. So and then it becomes less about the aesthetic and more about the inside. And I think coaching is that. Like, I mean, ultimately, like, you've got to create the meal plan and keep the person accountable and, put together the training program that builds their body and all these things, right? But I don't think you can really coach without really getting it into what's going on in someone's life, like in the other 23 hours that they're outside of the gym, and what factors are influencing their decisions around food and alcohol and sleep and exercise and how they treat themselves. Like, if they can't treat themselves well, then they're not going to stick to the diet you gave them. So I think nursing helps with that. And, the women that I've hired to be assistant coaches that work with me are like the most, Mandy, and I've got 3 other ones just like her that are like the most compassionate, like amazing people that just like care as much as I do. Like, look, I've been talking about some really deep stuff, and I talk about my friends, my coaches, and I get emotional because that's all I ever wanted was if I'm going to grow this, I need women just like me who care as much as I do about what we're here to do. And it's not just get people hot and skinny so they can walk around and say they're a bombshell. It's so much more than that.
Yeah. Yeah. We have an account to answer when we get to heaven, right? When we get to that gate, what impact did you have on humanity? And what'd you do for me while you were down there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I got a couple Olympia titles. And I don't think that's going to get us in, right?
No, not quite.
So you find yourself sometimes in your gym sessions, it turns less into a training session and more into a therapy session. Sometimes
Yeah, I do a lot of thinking, and I don't know, there are days definitely where I'm like, oh gosh, like I'm hurting or I'm tired, I didn't sleep great, or I've got this on my mind or something's bothering me. But I always end up sorting it out when I get in the weight room.
I know,
So
right?
yeah.
So tell me on your fitness or your coaching, do you do any in person? Do you have any local clients, or is everything you do online right now?
So we had to pivot massively in 2020. And I really thought, well, let me get my scrubs back out. I'm probably going back into the field. I'm anticipating everybody's going to have, financial strain and nobody's going to want to work with a coach anymore. But I was busier than ever. I mean, everybody was like, oh my gosh, like I need workouts for home. And, we're even like struggle getting groceries and helping people, like, all these moms are homeschooling now. And so, we really, through the Facebook community, and at that time it was just me. I didn't have anyone working with me or under me then. But, creating challenges and, going live on Facebook, and then we had Zoom came out, and that was something that we're able to use to do virtual coaching. And then when the world opened back up, it was still really hard to get clients to keep with meetings. It was, we've been exposed, we got to quarantine for 10 days, or, just everyone's busier. And so the virtual platform that we used started to work really well for everyone, even though we could go back to one-on-one. So, and I found it was giving me a better insight into like what their day was like, because prior to that, I would print out a menu and a workout plan. They would come to my office. We would girl talk for like 45 minutes. And, what did your husband do this week? Oh my gosh. All this stuff, right? Or talk about makeup and whatnot. And I loved it. But, it was not, we weren't like focusing on, and people were getting results, but I felt like once we were able to like use an app to be able to get a closer look into like what people are doing, and these apps like sync up with devices like the Oura Ring and the Apple Watch, so we can see steps and sleep and heart rate and everything. And I'm like, holy moly! Like I can see all these different areas where I can really optimize somebody. And it was easy because people could just fill a check-in from home and didn't have to make an appointment and get a babysitter, or, oh, traffic's late, or, oh, we have a snow day, or whatever it might be. And then they can't avoid a check-in because it's scheduled every week versus like, oh, I can't make it. I have something. And it's like, girl, I know what you got up to this weekend because I follow you on Facebook and you're not coming for that Monday night check-in. Okay. So it just worked really well for the business. And so, I stopped doing one-on-one. And then at the time, kind of like, that's when my kids' sports like really started to pick up, and we've got wrestling tournaments every weekend. We're traveling for cheer. So I can't see people in the evening or the weekends anymore with having a family. So it just made so that I could work anywhere. And I do. It was funny when we were talking about me leaving nursing. I'm like, I think I probably put in more hours now owning my own business, but I can do it anywhere. I can do it in between wrestling matches, or, in hotels when I'm, we don't have to meet for cheer till 2. I've got hours to work and whatnot. So it's made it like easy to work anywhere and to support people too. Like I think you can support them more this way because there's so many different ways virtually to connect with people.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt.
Yeah.
So tell me about, hang on, I lost my train of thought. So I was going to ask you something, but I didn't want to cut you off.
Oh, sorry.
So tell me, no. So tell me about your, as far as being a leader, right? With your business, you now have, you said 3 or 4 coaches under you.
Technically I've got 4, full-time and then 1 part-time.
Okay.
That's 5,
so, 1099, I'm assuming, type of situation, like contract deal. So
Yeah.
how do you, since that is and you're all remote, that can be a difficult area to navigate, right? To still, to run the business, right? And have high levels of accountability. So how do you do that? How do you do that with people being remote?
As far as clients, or as like being a like business owner for like my employees?
Yeah, the employees, the girls that are working with you for your company, representing your company. How do you hold them accountable if you don't get to see them every day? You don't get to check in. You know what I mean? You're not going to work every day. Hey, are you? You're late today. Getting to, you know what I'm saying? Like how are you? How do you manage that?
So we have a weekly team meeting, and then we have a self accountability system. It's called a WEC. It's a workforce effects chart.
Okay, I love it.
What Mandy calls it a WIC. I love her. She says treadmill too. I think you pointed that out.
You saw that, right? Did you see that on the podcast?
Yeah, my daughter used to do it too. It's so funny.
My wife still calls it a treadmill.
I know.
I love it.
I've never corrected her. I'm like, it's cute. Don't change it. So the workforce effects chart is just like a self-evaluation tool that each of the coaches fills out weekly to just sort of like reflect on kind of how they're doing as far as meeting different like targets and different like objections that we have, like goals really for them, and meeting all those targets helps them to, make more money. And to serve their clients and all of those things. And there's like several different categories that they evaluate themselves on. And then on our weekly call, each of the coaches will screen share and talk about, how certain things are going, and how they're meeting targets or not. And, it's meant to be less of like a telling on yourself and a self accountability tool. And we have a really like a very close team. So I oversee everything. So I know what's going on all the time. So I can, see their clients and what's happening. And I think we just communicate really well. I've been really lucky. And I knew all of these women really before they became a part of the company. Most of them started as clients.
That was my next question. So you're out there. You're on these social medias. You've got a following, and you're a pro now. So you got I reach out to you. I'm a girl. Hey, Gillian, I love you. I've been following you for years, and I want to start. I want to coach under you. I want to work for you. What's that vetting process look like? Number one, I'd be out because I'm a dude. But if I were a girl,
well, and that is exactly how Mandy became one of my coaches. But I had been watching her for a while. Like I knew what she was about. I saw her at shows. She was hustling her butt off and she wanted to be a part of the industry. I could tell she was passionate about helping people and she was really putting herself out there. And so when she reached out, like to find out, how do you really get started? Because I'm kind of trying over here, but it just doesn't seem like it. And I was like, let me save you some time. Do you want to come and work for me? Like I felt like she would be an asset to the team, and that turned out to be true. And her and I have started the podcast together, and she's really involved in all parts of the company and a fabulous coach. And so that's a unique situation because she wasn't a client kind of getting started. But Julie's a new addition to our team, and her and I connected at a show. She's like, I listened to your podcast, and I was like, oh, and then I would see her at other shows, and we just stayed in touch. And I knew her over a year before I hired her, so I take my time because I want it to be the right fit, and and I want people to come and be a part of this that they're driven. I want them to be ambitious and driven, but not just money hungry. Like that is not going to be a fit for what we do here. Because I believe if you do right by people and you do a good job and you give your best, then that money part figures itself out and all that comes together. It really does.
And not only does it figure itself out, it's sustainable and repeatable when it's done right.
Yep.
And yeah, absolutely. 100%.
You just do a good job.
Money's the byproduct.
It. Yeah. So it has not worked out in the past with someone who that was, a prime focus for them. But I mean, I understand it's career, so it's important. But I don't think you can just define success by what you make. I think it's the legacy you're leaving and the impression that you make. That if anybody were to say, "Oh, I worked with, Gillian or Kate or Mandy or Brooke with Momshell," they'd be like, "Oh yeah, they do good work. They really care about their people. That matters. That matters a lot." So, and I think that's where, we've survived and thrived and doing well as a company because that's our core value.
So I've done really good up until now of staying on your good side. So you're being super, super sweet to me. Have you fired a client before? Flat out just said, "Hey, listen, we're done. This ain't for you. I'm not for you. This isn't going to work," for a couple of reasons. Number one, some people need tough love. And number two, let's face it, you got a brand too, right? And if somebody's going to come out here, foul up, not do a good job, and not get results, they're going to say, "Yeah, they suck. I was with them for 3 months, and I gained weight, and that's bad for business, right?" So just there's a lot that can. So have you fired anybody, and how do you do it if you have?
Well, I mean, I think I'm the type of coach that we're gonna try everything, and people will sometimes still not show up for themselves, and they can blame the plan or blame what it is, but I think I do a pretty good job of showing the big picture of or maybe even saying maybe you're not ready, because sometimes people want to change but they don't want to change. You know what I mean? They know they need to, and that's deep stuff, but I don't always know why that is. Maybe they don't feel like they're worthy of this life that they thought they wanted, or they don't believe in themselves. And if I can't get them to believe in themselves, then they're, and they can't, then there's no point in us working together. But I would say it would be hard to say I would fire a client because I don't want to give the feeling that I'm giving up on them. And sometimes I'm the only thing that they have that's for them. And even if they're treating me like, the whatever, old dish mop, and they don't care about me and they're not, I will say it's hard when you are more invested in the client's journey than they are, but honestly, it happens a lot. That's why it's hard to answer, because I wouldn't give up on somebody. And I guess I just wait for them to throw me out. But, I think I'm going to keep believing in you until you tell me to go away. And so I probably get fired first, honestly. I don't have an ego. I'm out. I don't have an ego, if somebody was doing something shady, I guess, like selling our stuff or whatever, but I don't know. I think it's just a matter of, I've been fortunate that the right people come our way. And if people have left, generally we understand the reasoning, or, we can see that maybe it's just not the right time. And this is meant to be a process that feels good. So if it feels to somebody like this is overwhelming, I have too much on my plate, I can't dedicate, and you're stressing me out, then I don't want us to work together. I don't want to be one more thing that feels stressful. It should feel good. It should feel like, but then I think that just means it's not the right time,
So you probably, it sounds like you've been pretty firm in your processes, and most people have fired themselves really before it's gotten to that point, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Well, good. Well, that's good. Because I got a buddy of mine that's in the space and kind of taking a little bit of a different approach. But yeah, he's like, man, I'll tell him, hey, we're done. I mean, you're not, you're doing this, you're doing that.
So my husband is in the car business, and he's in management. So, sometimes I get off work and I'm like, and I tell him about whatever day I've had and whatnot. And he's like, well, I'm going to tell you what I would do. And I'm like, I cannot do that. I would never do that. Men and women are different. And this is fitness. It's a very sensitive area. So yeah, I mean, I know I've had several male coaches in the bodybuilding space that have coached me, and I mean, they're just, bye. They don't care, they fire people and they don't care. But
what's your husband's name?
Brian. Yes, with a Y.
Brian with a Y. Gillian,
doesn't matter, but even people who have known us for years would still spell it with an I.
That's it's a pet peeve of mine. Tony with a Y. That's Tony. Girls is with an I, and when people send me anything with an I, I'm like, dude, come on, seriously?
Who does that?
Yeah, who does that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me what is next for you. Are you in prep right now for anything?
Well, you never really leave prep. I came to find out when you're a professional, it's 24/7, 365. Yeah. So it just looks different than like the dieting phase. So, this will be year 20 of me competing, and my next show will be my 30th show. So, but it's much different than it used to be. Like I used to have these big swings between off season and prep, and they were very different. But now it's sort of like a lot of the same things all year round. It's just, as you get close to stage, you're obviously pushing for a level of conditioning that's, it's fairly extreme. So that's to come.
But you just live your life so many weeks out. That's kind of what, it's not whether you're in prep or not. It's just how many weeks out you are.
Yeah. Right? I'm right now, I'm trying to bring some improvements. I was, last year was my first season, in the pro league, and it was a great, first season. I got a lot of great feedback and won some medals. But I've got some improvements to make. So I'm working with a coach now to, build and bring some improvements. So calories are in a good spot. Training's feeling really good. So I don't know how long we'll stay here before, we get on stage. It might be as early as like April, or it could be later. We have like a lot of family stuff that goes like the month of May. I pretty much would be able to. You don't have
a show scheduled.
Not yet. No, last year I was like, I'm doing this one and this one and this one. I had it all mapped out. But, this year I'm a bit more strategic because my goal would be to qualify for the Masters Olympia, which they only have them every 2 years. So the next one's in 2027. But you have to win a Masters 40 show in order to qualify. So, there's a limited number of those shows, and a lot of girls do. A lot of winners show up at those shows, and they block you from being the next, contender. So yeah, I just want to make sure that I'm not just doing 10 shows trying to qualify, and I want to show up strong and improved. So I don't know. Was that your question? I'm sorry. Did you ask me what it was next for me?
Yeah, no, that's good. That's fine. So tell me, let's talk about that then. What are you working on right now? What's your I don't call it a weak point, but yeah, what's the point you're trying to develop?
Yeah. So it's got a lot to do with balance. So, top to bottom, front to back, as far as muscular development and then conditioning as well. So they like to just basically see all the muscles. They don't want to see, totally etched in abdominal muscles, but like just nice shape, so if somebody's only got really powerful glutes, then that won't work. It's not a butt competition. So that's what we used to all think about it. So, balancing out upper body and lower body, but a lot of focus on lower body. And they really want that hourglass shape too. So I'm careful to not put on a lot of weight in the off season because it just makes it too hard to diet down and keep all the muscle. And I'm 45, so I've got to be conservative when it comes to weight gain because my skin will not be able to go up 20 pounds and down 20 pounds and look the same. So that's another consideration too of being an athlete in the sport as a mature athlete. So building, and then my feedback last year was, we just want to see more of an hourglass physique and just keep showing up. So sometimes that's hard to deal with, sort of like, what do you mean exactly? But, refining your stage presentation and it's a tall order of what they're looking for. And it's just, sometimes it's your day and sometimes it's not. I mean, I think there's, certain people that, they might say, okay, you've really got to work on this body part, or this body part needs to come up. But, I'm pretty close. There's just a few details that cost a lot. They're little things, but in the scoring, they mean the world. So that right package will come together eventually, So
Remind me, does bikini have height classes or is it all open?
when you turn pro, it does not have height classes. So I was always in the shortest class when I was competing as an amateur. And then when you turn pro, it's everyone. But they do have age categories. So open is everybody. And then they've got 35 plus, 40 plus, 45, 50, all of that. But only the 40 plus a win in that category will qualify you for the Masters Olympia. We don't know where it will be. The last one was in Tokyo. And then before that was Romania. So they just brought it back in 2023. So we're excited to hear what they say about 27. It's just, it gives Masters athletes something to shoot for, because before this, we were all just sort of like, oh, yay.
Like, we get old and washed up. When I heard about the Masters, like, heck yeah, I told my wife, I said, listen, I'll make it. Cause she, after that first prep and all that, what went into it, she's like, you're not doing it again. You're out. And so,
well, the first one's always the worst. You get better at it.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course I enter into like 5 classes for my first show. And
why not?
So, yeah, it was great. So, I said, okay, I'll make you a deal, because I was 41, I think 40 or 41. And I said, I'll make you a deal. I'll do every 10 years. I'm going to compete 40, 50,
yeah.
60. I'm going to do it as long as I can. So she's like, yeah, we'll talk about it. So I pout really good and get my way when I kind of dig my heels in. So,
yeah.
Okay. So I wanted to talk about about competing. So in your supplement regimen, and so you don't have to go into this if you don't want to, because there may be some of your secret sauce, and I don't want to reveal too much of that. So, because it's all open, and I know there's no level of testing, and there's nothing off limits in the IFBB, right?
No, I mean, they do have a natural portion.
Sure.
Like the IFBB does have a natural Olympia. It's called the Ben Weeder. And they do have natural shows. And those are tested. And they do polygraph with those as well. But for the most part, in most of the shows, there is no testing.
Okay. So do you run hormones, supplements, peptides? Do you personally partake in any of that?
Yeah.
You don't want to reveal any of it.
Yeah, no. So I'm, I do hormone replacement therapy now. And, over the years, I think, just like anybody, out of curiosity, what's Anavar? Like, what's this, different things that you sort of like, it's almost like so everybody's taking, whatever. And then oh my gosh, like I didn't realize I was, okay, now I'm crossed over to some different threshold, but I did really well without ever needing anything.
Yeah.
I was doing TRT, after my second pregnancy, just to get my testosterone was in the toilet in my 30s. And then, through lifestyle and health and whatnot, I was able to get myself in a good spot, competing. So I wasn't using the testosterone then. I mean, it was just the tiniest amount just to help me to feel better again. But I did really well until, about 22. And then I sort of hit a wall as far as the ceiling of where I could go as an athlete. And so pursuing TRT again, learning about peptides and SARMs and what those can do. And so I've always been really like smart about it. And, I always say you've gotta do all the other things first, like the creatine and the building phases, and take time off, and you've got to have good training in place. You've got to have your diet in a good place before you ever, you know, and move up to the next level of things. But that's the name of the game. That is my sport. I think as I have a podcast now and I have an audience. What I want people to know is just that it is not what people think it is. Like, I think that when people hear that there isn't testing, they just assume everybody's just a
free for all.
Everybody's doing tons of steroids. But like, that umbrella and what is underneath it is not just anabolics. Like, it's Ozempic. It's, fat burners. Like, thyroid things. Like, it's not just like PEDs is it's a huge thing. So I don't love that for our sport. People who don't know just are like, well, since it's not tested, that means everybody is like a juice monkey. So I like to talk about it with people so that they understand it. And honestly, a lot of people will book a call to learn about competing, and they're like, so when do I have to get on steroids? I'm like, what have you heard?
Yeah.
I want people to know the truth that, like, I compete in bikini, so it's a lower, barrier to entry as far as, what that looks like. And then there's fit model now too, which is a category that requires less musculature, less conditioning. If you're talking about women's physique, women's figure, women's bodybuilding, like, their requirements are different. But those are athletes that have the genetics for that division, and that's their sport. That's where they're competing, and it's different. But I think I want people to, but I say that because I want people to be safe. Like, if somebody's like 21 years old and it's their first show and their coach is telling them everyone that's competing is doing da 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 da, I'm here to tell you they're not. And I want to protect people so they can at least make, a good decision and know that, like, it took me a very long time before any of that stuff was ever needed,
Yeah. If you got to choose one, if they were going to take away all the peptides that were available now, what would be the one you would want to keep?
Oh my gosh. This is a hard answer.
I know.
Because
I'm asking it.
Probably BPC 157.
I knew it. Yeah, do you not? It's probably the best all around.
Best.
Right?
It's the best.
And I'm going to tell you right now, if that GLP-1 was around when I did my show, it would have been a freaking game changer.
It would have saved marriages. I'm telling you.
Right.
I know. I was talking to a girl the other day we did an interview with a girl talking about peptides, and she's like, yeah, like, I've always said this sport is so hard, and if it started to affect my family, I wouldn't do it anymore. And it just took the edge off of that food noise and helped me to really just enjoy the process more. I mean, they are game changers for sure. That's why maybe doing prep in your 50s might not be so bad.
Yeah, no, listen, and I own a hormone clinic now too, so I'm in.
Ding ding. You're good.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so what's your end goal? I don't want to say end goal. What's your okay, so you said Olympia, you want to get to the Masters Olympia. What about for the business? What's your vision? What's your vision for Momshell? Do you want it to be an international company? It probably already is. You probably have some international clients.
Yeah, we do.
You want to grow to 25, 30, 50 trainers? Like, do you have a vision, or are you just going to keep rocking it?
I mean, I think I just want to make a really big impact. Mm-hmm. I want every woman to feel empowered. So I don't know what that looks like. I guess I'll just keep going until the wheels fall off. But I think I kind of stopped setting like targets and goals that were like, numbers, or because I think that you can get there and then go, I still don't really feel like I've done what I wanted to do. I knew it was something.
Conversation last night.
Yeah, like I think those are important. Like I think that those goals are important, but um that's never been like, oh, I'm pushing for a, however many $1,000 I'll make, how many figures I'll make this month, or it's just not, that's never been a big driver for me.
Mhm.
But I think growing this brand and even just sort of growing in the space, in the podcasting space, to be able to like share my message with more people so that they can live their best life and again find that power and find themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's great. Man, good stuff. Good stuff. You're
Is it?
such a good girl. You are. I mean, I mean, you're doing great things and great for people, and you're a great mom. And I see, I only see it through the lens of social media, but you seem to be pretty transparent about it. And
Yeah.
yeah, so all
There's a
good
little
stuff.
parade walking by right now. Everybody's waving at
Yeah,
me.
I
Hey,
love
yo.
it. I love it. I got to get your Brady, right? That's your oldest.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
I'm
Brady
gonna.
said he's a
Yeah,
bodybuilder too. Grew up
yeah,
and
that's awesome.
actually competed pregnant with him. And I didn't know it. And we,
So he
back in
didn't
the
have he
day,
literally came out of the womb in a show.
literally. Yeah, he was on stage as a fetus. We used to figure there was two categories. You had a two piece and a one piece. And I remember when I would wear the one piece, I was like, God, I look so bloated and I'm taking gas X backstage. Like, I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I was like 12 weeks pregnant and it was a tough prep. I was crying all the time in the gym and I was like having a hard time kind of getting the conditioning. And I remember just being like, when I found I was pregnant, I was crying in the doctor's office, like, oh my God, I hope he's okay. And the doctor's like, he's gonna be fine. It's you. He just took from you that whole time, honey. Like,
Yeah,
oh, okay. Um, but yeah, he just, he's always loved the sport. Like as soon as he could walk, we had him on stage handing out trophies.
that's awesome.
And he always had little He-Man guys. So we love little muscular action figures.
He looks like a
Um,
little He-Man action figure now.
he does, I know. And he loves helping people too. Like he's got a YouTube channel and he likes to share. And so I think that's part of what I do in my work is like, show the kids to do something with your life that you help and give back to others in some way, shape, or form. And my husband does that too as a police officer and does a lot of good in
Sure.
this world. And so I think, that's tied into like my mission for my business is that piece of it is, for my kids and then their kids to, carry that on.
Do you have like a mission statement or mission purpose values, or do you have anything?
We do. Yeah. Yeah. For our business, it's all built into, I couldn't recite it if you asked me
Yeah,
to. It's very
no,
fancy.
no, okay.
But yeah, I think I feel like it goes unsaid, just in how we share wins in the company. Like at the beginning of every meeting, we share a win. And it allows me to see my coaches finding that like joy out of like helping others. And it's like, oh, this is good stuff. These are good people I have working with me. And, I think that's what keeps it going. I think if I was by myself, I don't know if I'd feel as inspired, but when you're working with people who love what they do, it's great.
Yeah, you feed
So,
off each other too. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, totally.
Okay, so last question here. Well, number one, first of all, did you have anything that you wanted to make sure that we talked about? Having this platform. Was there anything about your life or just anything in general that you wanted to make sure you shared?
I don't think so. I'm just, grateful to have this opportunity, and it's kind of cool to be on this side of the
Yeah.
mic. Like when I'm on your side, I mean, I'm all business. I got my
Yeah.
questions and, trying to make sure I get the right answers and whatnot. So it's cool to like, just be on this side and
Chill.
yes,
We're just
talk about
talking.
and also talk about stuff that's outside of just fitness. Because if I'm asked to come and speak, it's generally like, what are the 5 tips for mastering your menopause hormone lifestyle? And I'm like, oh, like I feel like I'm always like, I gotta like have perfect like fitness answers, but it's nice to talk about just life.
So before I ask my last question, I want to know, because if a child views, like one of your kids, right? If a child views you as a parent, and this could be for anybody watching this, you could send a really, really unhealthy message to your child.
Mm-hmm.
if you're into fitness and into yourself and into your image and how you look, and it's constantly, because that's part of our barometer of where we're at is how's our waist look, is my abs coming in, so
Yeah.
it's a lot of image, right? And
Mm-hmm.
but really we're trying to feel good about ourselves. There's a lot of internal stuff that isn't externally talked about, and so as
Yeah.
a parent, I think it's super important that kids that see us. So how do you make sure that your kids are viewing what you're doing as healthy?
I love this question because
Because
I
I
think,
know Brady is how old? 17, 18?
yeah, he'll be 18 in 2 months.
Yeah, like, bro, your mom's freaking hot, man. Like, how many times did you hear that, right? And what?
He's
So
totally
it's like,
fine with it. I mean,
yeah,
he's grown up with, all my friends compete and he's at competitions. He's completely unfazed by a woman in a bikini.
yeah,
So I think, I think getting back to sort of, about the body image thing. And, of course I have Instagram, I have TikTok. I'm in my bathing suit on the internet. I have teenagers. And so I think how I carry myself online, I try to show more than just my physique. I try to show parts of my personality. Of course, like long form content's great for that. I'm sharing pieces of my podcast that, show me speaking and what I do for work and how I help people and parts of my lifestyle and cooking and all of that stuff. But, I always stand up for the sport because at first when like bikini came out in 2009, it was just like, oh, a bunch of bimbos and, this is just like a beauty pageant and everything. And I saw the work that we were all doing in the gym and I so badly wanted us to have respect. And so, turning down opportunities to do, lewd sort of photo shoots. And I still don't like that. Like I think a woman's body is beautiful and I love artistic creative photo shoots, but I just steer completely away from anything that's lewd or that sexualizes the sport because there is nothing sexual about it. Like when
yeah.
you're at these competitions, it is all business, right? And I
Yeah, in
think
fact, if anybody knows the truth, your sex life is almost non-existent when you're deep into
pretty much, yeah. I mean, and you probably look in the best you've ever looked, and you're like, please get
yeah,
away from me,
yeah,
or you smell like protein, or I mean, it's just this mean nice protein. So, but yeah, being a mother, and yeah, like I think there's been times where I know that other parents have been like, I mean, she's like a bikini stripper, like things like
yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah,
which they'd probably never say it to my face. But people are kind of always going to, not people, but some people will, put down someone who's like, perceivably like living their best life and they've got it all together. And that's okay. Nobody who's doing amazing and super confident is going in my comments like, well, you're a hooker. So I realize the source. But, I think, it's just something that I've really been careful about, like even the language in our house, like when I'm prepping for a show, if I like, and I remember last year, like I was stuck at this one stuck point and I was cursing that scale every morning. I was so mad every morning, but I didn't want my kids to know, like I'm never going to lose this weight. I'm fat. Like the things I'm thinking in
yeah,
my head,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm not going to carry that over because they're going to be like, oh gosh, I can't wait for mom to be done. She's really suffering. She's, she can't lose weight and she thinks she's fat. But if she thinks she's fat, like
Never
so
mind.
language and things we talk about and like, it's just not, it's how you talk about it. It's how you handle yourself. And yeah, there's been some times where I'm like, I am so hungry. I'm going to eat my arm off, but I'm, just keeping a brave face, because I want to be a good role model. And if my kids decide to compete, like I want them to look at it and go, okay, yeah, mom worked really hard and there was some days that were really tough, but like, look at all the medals and like, look at all the pictures and look at how, how much she got out of doing that and what you can gain from that experience versus like, well, look at all the suffering that went into it and she was really miserable and I would never want that.
Hey, isn't that life?
Yeah.
Isn't that just
Yeah.
life in general?
Do the
You know
hard
what I mean?
things. Yeah.
I mean, seriously, it's just, you've got those
Yeah.
measurements that go to it. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think
I
that's
think that's huge too. They've got to know that like, if you want something bad, there's probably a lot of people who want that too. So you've got to work really, really hard. And I'll never forget, there was a time my daughter was dealing with like a little heel injury. It's like very common in kids when they're growing. It's like part of their heel tendon just becomes like, it's really irritated. And so anyway, so she was doing all-star cheer at the time. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, are you going to be okay? And she's like, Mom, I can do anything for 2.5 minutes. And I can remember like me saying things I'd go downstairs, do cardio. I can do anything for 90 minutes, things like that. She's literally quoting me. And I thought that was so cute because, they've seen, me do this and how much work it takes and the dedication. But like, I think they also realize that the payoff is totally worth it. And it's not just all suck. There's good on the other side of it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's fill in the blank.
So,
right? If you do this, then this, whatever. Right?
yeah. And you don't quit. If you lose, you just pick yourself back up and you never lose. You always learn. That's what I also say too. Because I've lost a lot. But
you would think I'm a lot smarter with all the losses I've had. All right. So last question, and I'll let you get out of here. These videos are going to perpetuate hundreds of years maybe from now. We don't know, right? And somebody's going to look at this, and there's going to be, some woman struggling, or whoever. There's going to be somebody watching this video in 100 years from now. What kind of message do you want to leave for generations? For the next 100 years, people every year are going to be watching this video. What kind of message that transcends time do you want to leave for them, from you?
Well, I mean, I think you've got to bet on yourself, because I think you can't look for external sources to believe in you. If you don't believe in you, you've got to believe it in yourself. And even if your goal or dream or whatever it is maybe something that you've never seen before. But I mean, we believe in Jesus Christ and we've never seen him, right? So I think you've just got to just hang on to that dream, and no matter how many times, things get in your way or you feel like it's impossible, I think it's important just to always believe in yourself and just keep showing up. Even if you show up 364 times and then there's one time that you actually follow through, I think you've just, and you'll fail a lot along the way, but no matter where you are, there's a lesson in what you're going through. And if you give up, that's the only way you'll really fail. So just keep going.
Keep going. I love it.
Yeah.
You did mention Jesus, and I don't want to shortcut that part of our conversation. So tell me how faith has been part of your journey with fitness and everything. Do you weave it in? Do you get to share Jesus with your clients? Maybe that aren't necessarily have faith or searching. How much faith do you get to have into your business outwardly, openly?
I think it's important to believe in like some form of higher power, and I think everyone's different as far as what that looks like. But I think faith just means, you've got to believe that where you're at, the chapter of your life that you're in, there's a purpose. And I think that can be hard, because I think I was challenged with that when my dad passed away. I thought, well, what is the meaning of this exactly? If everything happens for a reason, I'm having a hard time understanding this, especially for my mom, who was, a widow, and, sad what she had to kind of go through and how her life changed, But I think if faith helps us to just, see the meaning in everything. And I think you've got to, because if you lose that, then I think you could become a really sad person, and it'd be hard to move your life forward, I think, without that.
Yeah. Really adds substance, right? Gives us some substance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, my sister, this has been great. Thank you so much for jumping on here with me. I know you're
it's been super fun. I appreciate, you are too, so I appreciate you having me on this Tuesday night.
Yeah, right.
The eve of New Year's Eve.
The New Year's Eve.
Yeah. Am I your last guest of 2025?
You are. You actually are. I'm going out with a bang, girl. Listen to that. Let's go.
No pressure. Yeah. Okay, what are your New Year's resolutions? I got a question for you.
So, I don't live in that, because my life is daily, right? They all just kind of start running together. The
Yeah.
days, the months. I'm like you. I don't. I used to have the arrival fallacy. You ever heard of that? The arrival fallacy.
No,
If
it's
I could just get to here,
yeah.
then my life will be better. Or if I could just get this paid off, then everything will be better. If I could just,
Hmm.
you're just chasing this. It's an arrival fallacy because once you get there, it's not true.
Yeah.
And so that's where, my faith in Jesus and really finding the substance and my value, my fulfillment in that, right? And so I don't, it's like for me, every day is a New Year's resolution. I'm trying to get, 1%. You ever read that book, Atomic Habits, or heard of
Uh-huh.
it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right.
It's up
So
there.
it's
Yeah.
that's me, right? It's every day. It's constantly. And I'll tell you one thing that I've gotten. And I had a young man on last night. He's a major influencer in the auto space. You might ask your husband about it. Russ Flips Whips. He's got like 2 million followers across all the platforms. He's got one video that did like 35 million views, and it's
Wow.
just nuts, right? And I had him on last night. He started this social media coaching company, and I just told him, I said, man, I'm 20 years older than you. If I can give you any piece of advice, I'm not as popular as you, and I'm not as famous as you, and all that stuff, but I've been through a lot more life than you. Figure out, because when you're on that constant hamster wheel and you're trying to get
Yeah.
better, you miss everything that you're great at or good at, or all things good in life, just trying to be better, right? And
Yeah.
so I've learned, just really probably in the last year or so, how to be content but not complacent, because I thought those two went together.
Yeah.
The minute you became content, you become complacent. And
Yeah.
it's not true. It's not true. Content is finding peace, right, and fulfillment in here's where I am, here's what I've accomplished, I've reached this level, I'm going to the next level, but I'm so proud of myself and I'm happy with where I'm at.
Yeah.
And if it were to all end today, I did great.
Yeah.
Right. And that's like, and so for me, my New Year's resolution is just to keep getting healthier at that mindset every day, just trying to be better. And if there's a grade, I want to be greater and then greater, but
Yeah.
it's just never stopping, but also breathing and being happy with where you're at and being blessed, right?
Yeah.
We are so freaking blessed because
I know.
we don't deserve it, right? We're sinners, and
Yeah.
we don't deserve anything for him being crucified and beaten to death like he was for us. We are so undeserving of that, right?
Yeah.
And so to live in that grace and acceptance of that, it's given me a whole new spin. So I don't mean to skirt that issue. I have not given any thought to it because I
Yeah.
think it's so cliche, right? I've given a lot of thought over the past couple of years of every day having a resolution to be better than I was yesterday, somehow, some way, whether it's read a little bit more in the Bible or do one more good thing for somebody. I tell people, I was just talking to somebody the other day, kind of partly why I'm doing it and really starting to get some ambition to do more of this stuff is 37 years of my life I stole from humanity. I'm talking about, I turned people to drugs that had never tried them before. I had, sex with girls who'd never had sex. I took virginity from young girls. Just stole from people, stole their souls for the most part, right? For so many years. And now realizing that I was saved from that wretched life 10 years ago. January 16th will be my 10-year date of being saved.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I'm releasing my book on that day, so I'll make sure you get a copy.
That's right. Yeah. You told me
Yeah,
that. That's awesome. Yeah.
yeah. So I just have, that's what I'm dedicating the rest of my life to.
Yeah.
If I get to be around for another 37 years, I'm going to spend at least that. I always say God's joke. I think my penance to me is he's going to make me live till I'm like 140 before he lets me go to heaven. I'm going to have to stay down here for a while. So anyway, yeah, so I have to give back to humanity at least something of what I took,
Yeah.
right? And that's it. So that's it. It's literally every day. My New Year's resolution is every day to continue to have resolve to be better.
Yeah. I love that. I think
Yeah.
that's good. I think we shouldn't wait for a day or a new year to, you know, go for those things. I love like a new beginning. Like I think I'm excited because
It is.
2025 was so great and I'm excited to see what 2026 holds and I don't think I'm going to move any different necessarily. I'm going to keep going for it, but then I think about, just the opportunities ahead and just, but I've always been like a really positive person. So I think that's why I love a Monday and I love like a new month.
Yeah.
Like I just always do. I don't know why I'm like that.
Little optimist.
But I think like getting older, like I feel like a bit braver as far as speaking out and posting and sharing. And so that's part of my like mission for 2026 is I know I can't help people if I just sit here and don't share what I have to say. And so I think that's, that started before, the first of the year. But I think it's, again, I want to give back and I want to share my message. And I think that's what I'm here to do. And so 2026 is a year of bold momshell, I guess.
I love that.
Doing all the things.
Unapologetic, right?
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
Apologetic. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, my friend, thank you so much, and I look forward to more and having Brady, and I'm sure we'll see each other at some point. And if you make your way to Kansas City, let me know. If I'm saying
for sure,
to let you know. Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, I'm gonna do my little outro and hang out in here in the studio when we're done.
Okay, cool.
Okay, ready? Hang out. This sounds really good in the car too, by the way.
That's it.
Well, that's another successful episode of the Stronger Leader podcast. Gillian, thank you so much. It's been such a blessing to have you on here. And listen, I will put all the content or all the links and everything below so you can figure out how to get a hold of her if you need her for anything. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and hit that bell so you get notified when all the new stuff drops. And as always, be good, be blessed, and be stronger. Peace.